there, friends, and welcome to episode 316 of Just the Zoo of Us. This week, I am joined by a wildlife ambassador and care specialist at none other than the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Maybe you've heard of it, to talk about the towering birds that are ready to literally rumble, cassowaries. We discuss short kings and feminine rage, a secret bird language that humans can't hear, nature's best dads, getting a modern dinosaur to be brave for his shots, and so much more. Just the Zoo of Us presents the Southern Cassowary with Marco Wendt. Everybody, this is Ellen Weatherford with Just the Zoo of Us, your favorite animal review podcast. I'm so excited this week because I have a brand new friend for y'all. It doesn't feel like a brand new friend for me because we've been mutuals on social media for like 1,000 years. So I feel like we're like buddies already, but I'm really excited to finally get to talk to you on the podcast. This is Marco Wendt. Say hi, Marco.
Hey, everybody. Buenos dias. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Marco, what are your pronouns?
Ooh, I am he, him, his, and I appreciate you asking.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk to you because you are live on location.
I am. We're live. In fact, when I was coming to this office to do this amazing interview, I was hearing the tigers at the zoo vocalizing this morning. So
that was your fanfare. That's your intro music. You know how like in wrestling when someone comes on stage, they got like the intro music playing?
I mean, I don't want to be braggy friend, but yeah, you'll see a flock of macaws, maybe a roaring tiger, maybe a booming cassowary. You never know.
I feel like, because you are on location, on the scene of like world stage, everybody knows. If you've ever heard of a zoo, you've heard of the San Diego Zoo.
Thank you.
I feel like it was one of those places where like when I was a kid, every time I would read like books about zoos or animals or something, it was always like San Diego Zoo is getting mentioned every time.
I don't want to be braggy, but I think you're right, you know? But you know, I with all respect of all the accredited zoos and aquariums around the world, I mean, everyone does a lot of great work, right? But yeah, you know,
it's not a contest.
It's not a contest, but if it was, maybe we do pretty good.
Now, what did that journey look like for you? Because I feel like San Diego Zoo is such like a dream job for a lot of people. How did you wind up here?
Yeah, and just to add a little more to the complexity of the story, you know, so you're saying San Diego Zoo, which is the zoo in the heart of San Diego in Balboa Park, if your listeners aren't familiar, in the heart of San Diego City proper. I grew up in what's called the North County of San Diego. It's where you find the beautiful safari park. So the company is San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance with 2 conservation parks. And how I got started? 16, friend, out of high school.
Whew.
Yeah.
You were a baby.
I was a baby. There was a summer job. I remember the description of the job was nectar-eating animals at the time called the Wild Animal Park, now the Safari Park. I thought it was going to be butterflies. Maybe I'm doing something with butterflies. So I show up, I get the interview, I get the job, and I find out it's actually not a butterfly. It's a bird called the lorikeet, which is a nectar-eating parrot. Yeah.
Oh.
They're adorable. Look them up, guys. They're awesome birds.
So cute.
Wonderful pollinators as well. But, you know, so I have literally grown up the zoo at the safari park since I was 16. And my skill set is animal trainer. So at the time, the title was animal trainer and zookeeper. We've morphed the positions now, you know, because we all have particular skill sets. Mine is more behavior oriented. So now these days we'll use the term wildlife care specialist with your particular skill sets, right? So I grew up at the safari park. It was great training animals, you know, living the life. But I also do a lot of media. So now, actually, amiga, you know, but now I'm the spokesperson for this amazing nonprofit international company.
I see you everywhere, I feel like now. Every time I'm scrolling through my feed anywhere, I'm like, there's Marco!
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's great, you know, and you know, out of high school, I was either going to be working with wildlife or actually acting, theater acting, and I couldn't figure out what. And once I started working for the bird show at the time, I thought, man, this is like the best of both worlds. I'm on stage, I talk to people, but I also work with wildlife. So it's been more throughout the years, and I love love what I do.
What a perfect, like, threading the needle of, like, the concept of, like, the convergence of things that you enjoy, things that you're good at, and things that you make money doing.
Yeah,
you know, like...
Oh, I mean, I know there's not a visual, but I'm throwing my hands up in the air saying preach, because honestly, that is what I tell kids every single day, that if you can, find what you love, and if you make it a career, man, you are golden for life. I mean, there's some hills and valleys, like life is, but no, I mean, what a wonderful platform. And, to add a little more to the story, I am first generation. My family's from Mexico, so I grew up here knowing Spanish first, and I learned English watching cartoons and shows with wildlife ambassadors at the time, like someone named Joan Embry, if your listeners are aware about her, the original wildlife ambassador for San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance. So being a person who identifies with the Latinx community, who also identifies with the queer community, and not having that representation when I started working in the zoo world, that's why I take this role as an honor and a responsibility, right, to represent all the diversity of wildlife and human beings that we have around the world.
I do also appreciate that a lot of your content that you put out is also in Spanish, too.
Thank you. Yeah. I know we have a big community here in San Diego, right next to our brothers and sisters in Mexico. So, of course, I'm going to do that and represent all aspects.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times, like, language can be such a barrier to education for a lot of things, especially when you're going to, like, really sort of specialize things like zoological information, because people tend to just print things in English because they're like, everyone speaks English, right?
It's easy, right? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so and especially, like, short form, highly engaging sort of, like, social media stuff, right?
No, and that's exactly. In fact, I started something called Zoolingo. It's a quick little thing, but it's learning a Spanish word for the English-speaking kids here in San Diego and the world, and also for the Spanish-speaking community also to learn. So, but it gives an equitable experience for all kind of kids that I'm trying to do, So thank you.
Now, when you're at San Diego Zoo, you've had the chance to work with a lot of really, really fascinating and really, really cool animals.
Yeah.
I feel like the first time I heard about them I heard about pandas at the San Diego Zoo, because it's like one of the few places in the country where you can see pandas.
Right, yeah. No, I mean, very well known, I was going to say, giant pandas in particular. Not every zoo has the resources, right, to be able to offer that experience for people of the world. So yes, giant panda in particular are a big hit here down in San Diego.
I have only seen them in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, yeah?
I got in the window of time where they had giant pandas.
Oh.
And it's a real treat.
Admittedly, friend, my preferences, I'm more of a bird guy, right? And I've worked birds, reptiles, mammals, insects, the whole thing. But birds are definitely my skill set. And honestly, admittedly, people get really excited when they see maybe a baby elephant or a baby giraffe or a giant panda, and it garners a lot of attention. And sometimes people that maybe represent other species kind of feel some kind of way about not having that same support, right? But we garner that passion and we can help out other species as well. So, and honestly, I didn't really get the whole panda thing until I saw one for the first time. And I saw Yun Xuan just sitting back, with his big old belly, just munching on his bamboo and it just falling all over him. And he was just having a day.
And I get it.
I totally get it now.
Maybe it's like, you think like they're so adorable, like, oh, they must photograph really, really well. And then you see them in person and you're like, oh, they're just like that.
No, they're exactly like that. Everything you see on a cartoon or TV, granted, maybe not Kung Fu Panda, but one of my favorite facts is a giant panda would rather just fall down to the ground from a branch in a tree than like climb down. Sort of this like half
they're
roll fall.
Enough.
Exactly,
you're not going to take fall damage. Get down there.
Right. It's the most perfect metaphor. I'm like, okay, I get you. I understand you. I see you.
Yeah, you're like, okay, all right. I see the hype now.
Totally
but I feel like
it.
for a lot of people, like especially people who really enjoy the deeper cuts, I think, from nature, like you like the more obscure stuff. You like the weird guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get not the resentment. Although I
no,
think
not resentment.
There could be some, feeling of like, all the, lions and pandas and the cute, fluffy, cuddly things get all the attention.
Right.
But then like that gets you in the door, right? That's like hey, come check this out. Come to the zoo. Come look at the cute stuff. And then you get in and they're like, hey, you want to see the real freaks?
Oh,
like,
I
you
know.
See the real weirdos. They're over here.
It's funny you bring that up. I mean, it's been about over 30 years since giant pandas have come here to San Diego. And I remember the first day we opened up our doors followers, guests, and we had media all over the world. I did like maybe 40 interviews that morning. And to your point, I did say we're very happy to have giant panda, but did you also know in the region, and then all these other species could get highlighted as well. So it's an expanded concept of what we call a flagship species. So, conservation-wise, you help out a giant panda. You're going to help out a variety of other species in the air in that beautiful ecosystem in South Central China. But also, to your point, just exposing guests to other animals that they've never even heard about. I mean, like a Chinese alligator. Most people don't even know there's a Chinese alligator. So, yes, it's an excellent segue to sort of connect people with the plethora of diversity of wildlife.
It's so wild to me that there's like the American alligator and the Chinese alligator, and that like the alligators from like Florida are weirdly like more closely related to like the Chinese alligator than to the crocodiles that are like just south of them.
Oh, 100%. Man, I love Mother Nature. One, like we're always learning new things, right? And Mother Nature's always teaching us things. So I'm a big student for life. But yeah, to your point, it's wild, right?
How'd your cousins get over there?
Yeah. What's going on there? Yeah, exactly.
Now, you mentioned that you're a bird guy.
I'm a bird guy.
Have you always been a bird guy, or was this a later development?
Because I get this question a lot, it started when I was a little kid, all about dinosaurs. I love me some dinosaurs. I mean, I'm an 80s kid, so, Land of the Lost.
You were in the golden age of dinosaur kid.
Golden age of dinosaur kid. Oh, man, I loved it.
There was a dinosaur renaissance.
Oh, 100%. There was even like an alien dinosaurs that came to planet Earth. There's so many different dinosaur cartoons, right? But it more for me from that to one day, I'm a little kid in Escondido, this town in the north of San Diego County. My parents got me little baby chickies. I'm like, I was so excited, right? The first time, like, little birds, wonderful. And I made a little habitat for them in my backyard. And I'm sitting out of my kitchen window, my hands on my head on my hands and looking, appreciating my baby chicks. And then all of a sudden, this a giant hawk comes out of a tree and goes after my baby chickens. Now, admittedly, for the first second, I am flipping out. I'm scared. Oh no, what's going on?
This is the worst thing that could have possibly happened.
Seriously, but I swear to you though, once the second and the third second hit, my brain went, what is that animal? Because I'd seen a hawk in the distance before, maybe on a perch as a small child, but never that dynamic of the predator and the prey. And I remember how low the Cooper's hawk was chasing my chickies. Now, in case your listeners are worried, nothing happened to my baby chicks, so everything was fine.
I thought for a second you were going to be like, you saw the hawk and you were like, hold on, let him cook.
I know. I mean, he didn't get my chicks, but he did get the bobwhite that were adjacent, but
you can have those. Those are free.
I mean, those are fine. But it sparked this interest, this curiosity until this day, amiga. Honestly, birds of prey, out of all birds, are my absolute favorite animals. Birds of prey and rat-tights have always been animals to me. I don't know why, but they just trigger this like remembrance and nostalgic of dinosaurs for me as a child. So
100%. Yeah. If you're looking for something to scratch the dinosaur itch, you can't go wrong with a big bulky bird.
Oh yeah. Or even a chicken. I mean, I love me some chickens. To me, want to look at them, those little mini feathered dinosaurs, they're awesome,
Now, to backtrack a little bit, because I think this is going to get us nicely into the animal that we're talking about today.
Yeah.
You used the word ratite that I think perhaps a lot of people maybe haven't heard before. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, exactly. So they're flightless birds, basically. So there's a variety of different kind of birds around the world. Specifically, I'm talking about birds that are unable to fly. So it's a Latin origin, raft-like. So it's a reference to their raft-like breastbone that they have. Most birds have what's called a keel. It's like a sharp bone. There's ligaments and muscles, right, for flight. Open up your wings, expand, pump up that, momentum and get off the ground. Rat-tights don't have that. So a very different animal. So I'm talking birds like, I'm sure most people are aware of an ostrich from Africa, the rhea from South America, Australia, New Guinea, and Tasmania have some very interesting rat-tights. The kiwi is one of my favorites as well. Very unique, smaller rat type, but still very strong. Terrestrial.
But bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Much bigger than people think, honestly. Yeah.
If you've only ever seen a photo of a kiwi like in the bush or like on the ground or something, you don't have like a sense of scale. I think a lot of it is from a place of making the assumption that the kiwi fruit is like
that would
of
be
a similar
so cute.
sort of size. Like I thought they were tiny,
right?
And then the first time I saw a photo of a human being holding a kiwi, I was like, that thing is huge.
Yeah, right. I've seen some almost close to not comparable to the size of maybe a chunky English bulldog.
They're big.
Just to give you listeners an idea. Yeah, big and strong. We also left out, by the way, the emu, of course, and then the cassowary, which found in the northern areas, right? So really unique. There was an extinct rat type now, unfortunately, due to human interaction called the moa. It was over 6 feet tall, amazing species of bird. So rat types have been around for quite a minute, and definitely one of my absolute favorites.
We've talked about this. It was a long time ago. I think maybe during the emu episode. But like the evolution of ratites is also like really, really bizarre. How like it would be a logical conclusion to look at like ancient velociraptors and stuff like that, right? Like theropod dinosaurs.
Yes.
Be like, okay, big raptor guy walks on the ground. You see like an emu or a cassowary, you're like solid through line, right? Like they just stayed on the ground.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then they did like more DNA analysis and stuff and realized that like, no, there was a flying part in the middle.
And then they kind of went, nah, I'm going to say that here. Maybe they giant panda'd it, they're like, I'm going to use less energy. But to your point, it's an adaptation to the environment at hand, and nuances in behavior. But they fill very interesting niches around the world. But they're really a fascinating type of bird, I think.
I love them. And also, they are terrifying to me a little bit.
I feel that. I mean, we're talking about some of the literal biggest birds on planet Earth. So I definitely understand that, especially if you're not a bird person and you've never had a rat type like an ostrich or an emu or a cassowary come up to you. It can be a little daunting. I can see that. In fact, my first experience with a rat type was when I was younger, about 17 years old, at the bird show at the safari park. Was with an emu named Maxwell, who, if any have remember the show at the time, know all about Max. He was a big hit.
Oh, now, okay, so the bird that we're talking about today is a rat type.
It is a rat type.
Cassowaries.
That's right.
I feel like cassowaries are like, they're gorgeous. A beautiful bird. A lot of people have heard about them and have a bit of a reputation for being not as friendly as emus, perhaps.
Right, yeah.
A feistier one.
You're right, and I would say there's truth to that, and maybe sometimes, we sensationalize things a lot, so kind of the line that I tell people when I'm at the cassowary habitat at the safari park, and again, just a reminder, we have the safari park and the San Diego Zoo. Sometimes we have species that can only be found in one or the other. So for instance, if you're a koala fan, well, then you want to go to the San Diego Zoo, right? If you're a platypus fan, then you want to go to the safari park. So sometimes we have certain species that are unique. So cassowary, when I have guests come up and they say like, oh, this is a super dangerous bird, I go, yeah, but the internet tends to sensationalize things a bit. And I would say, so for instance, we all know not to upset a rhino for a very obvious reason. And it's the same thing about a cassowary, but I think also because it's a bird and also maybe it's an oddity kind of animal. And by that, I mean, just doesn't look like an animal that most people would be aware that even exists. It kind of heightens that fear response a little bit, right? Because we're a little more inclined to understand mammal species more and more than we are with a bird or a reptile or an insect. It's easier for us to read behavior and try to identify with that species as opposed to a bird. So maybe there's all that nuance.
Yeah, maybe they feel kind of otherworldly.
Yeah, right, yeah. I mean, so having said all that, yes, cassowaries can be aggressive and a little more hostile, depending on the gender as well, right? Which we can definitely get into.
For anyone who's never met a cassowary or seen one in person, could you describe them a little bit?
100%. So everyone picture a map of the world in your mind. So let's zoom in to northeastern Australia, to also New Guinea is where we're going to be finding the cassowary. So it gets a little confusing because emus and kiwis are found in those particular areas as well. So they have a nice assortment of ratites, right? But we're talking cassowary. So there's the southern cassowary, the northern cassowary, and the dwarf cassowary. Back in the day, it was called the single wattled cassowary and the double wattled cassowary. But I'll start with the little one, right? The little one is probably going to be around maybe 3-ish feet. Super cute.
Your pocket cassowary.
Your pocket cassowary. But, a teacup,
cassowary.
Sort of like your little chihuahuas.
You put it in your bag. You carry it around.
It's adorable. When I first started working at the safari park at 16, we had a dwarf cassowary there. And she was gorgeous and beautiful. They're a little more found in the more higher areas of New Guinea, more mountainous sort of areas. So they don't have to be as big. And all these animals are also solitary, meaning they like to spend most of their existence by themselves and not really get together unless they're going to be breeding, for one. So I mentioned the dwarf, and it's going to be smaller, 3 feet, a little more grayish, black and feathering, a little bit of blue you can find on the face. Now, near to that, in the higher kind of plateau sort of grassland areas, you can find the northern cassowary, which is gorgeous bird, over 5 feet tall. You're going to see reds, blues, and this vibrant yellow. I love the yellow that the northern cassowary has. If you're looking up right now, you check it out. That's amazing color.
Yeah, right, buddy. Look at that.
I mean, they're not
almost
afraid
turkey-like.
Yeah,
almost.
right. Yeah, especially with the
turkey
waddle.
Adjacent.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, 100%. Maybe a turkey on steroids is what I would say, and with splashes of color all over it, right? But we're going to talk today about the southern cassowary. It's where I have that personal experience. So that of the three, that is the biggest of the cassowary. So a male is going to be like all rat types. Males are smaller than the females for one. So that's another oddity about them. So a male is going to be roughly over 5 feet, maybe 5'10", 5'11", depending, maybe reaching 100, maybe up to 120 pounds, as an example.
But on their profile, they always put 6'1".
I know, that's because they're putting out the they want to heighten it up a little bit. And I was going to say, the females of the two. So yeah, female is going to get, I've seen them over 6 foot tall. They can weigh up to 160-ish pounds. So they're a big, big bird.
So compared to her, he's a short king.
Definitely a short king. Yeah,
measly 5'11".
And she is a dynamic, vibrant, towering queen of a bird, demanding the attention she deserves.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yes.
I have had the pleasure of being around. Okay, so I was in a zoo. It's going to sound weird when I say it, but it's called the St. Augustine Alligator Farm.
Okay.
Which is a zoo. It is an AZA accredited zoo.
Nice.
In St. Augustine, Florida. That, they do have mostly like alligators and crocodilians and reptiles and stuff, but they also have really, really cool birds.
Oh, wow.
Including when we were there one time, they had these 2 cassowary enclosures separate from each other.
Right.
But like separated by a walkway so they could see each other.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And when we were there one time, they were so mad. They were like pacing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if they were mad at each other or something, but these cassowaries were like so, like you could. It was like when I catch you, it's on sight. Like,
oh no! Wow, maybe it was like breeding season, possibly, right? Or maybe
it may have
maybe
been,
something
yeah.
hyping them up a little bit. But yeah, they can have their moments for sure. They're zoomies. They got some definite zoomies. And a reminder too, during that breeding season, the male's going to try to vocalize and that got the attention of the female. So maybe there was something going on right there, possibly. But who can say?
There was some drama. It was something I was not privy to.
There was definitely some drama.
They had a group chat going that I wasn't in, I guess.
All right. Well, I'm glad you had that experience so you can see, right? They have a whole plethora of emotions they can interpret.
I know people don't give birds enough credit for being messy.
Or reptiles as well, right? They all have moods and personalities, just like mammals. It's just what I tell people, I know it's hard, what we said earlier, it's easier to connect with mammals, but all wildlife communicates. We just got to learn how to listen. That's the only thing,
If you ever have a chance to look into the eyes of one of these, are these one of the ones with the really killer eyelashes?
Yes, they have amazing eyelashes. I still say the secretary bird and the Abyssinian ground hornbill of all the birds in the world, to me, have the prettiest eyelashes. Not to take away from the cassowaries. They got amazing eyelashes, but when I think of
But they also have a lot else going on.
Oh, 100%. In fact, because we mentioned, the southern cassowary, the female can get over 6 feet tall. This animal can weigh 160 pounds. So picture a beautiful black, what looks like silky, but they're actually coarse feathers that cover the entire body of the cassowary. The color for the southern cassowary, you're going to see a lot of blues and reds involved for the adults. And what's unique about the cassowary compared, I think, to other rat types around the world, a couple things. One, on the top of the head, you're going to see this bony helmet-looking thing. It's called the casque. And so that casque makes them very unique. It continues growing as the cassowary develops and gets older. It grows and grows and grows. And also their inside nail is what really a lot of people I think know the cassowary for, right? A female, being the larger of the two, is going to have an inside nail that would probably reach around 4 inches, maybe 5 inches. And it's fairly sharp. And that's what they would use for defense if they need to do so.
You know what? That's a great segue into the first category that we rate animals on. If this is anyone's first time listening to this podcast, our whole deal is that we rate animals out of 10. And the first category is effectiveness, which are physical adaptations, traits, things built into the animal's body, tools they have in their kit.
Love it.
To solve problems that they face, maybe either ways that they get their own food or not become food themselves.
Yeah.
So what do you give the southern cassowary out of 10 for effectiveness?
I think you probably picked the worst person on the planet because I love them so much. So they get a 12 out of 10, in my opinion. You know, everything physically.
What can't she do?
What can't they do? I mean, we are talking about forest animals. Deep
fly for one is one thing she can't.
That's valid. That's very valid,
but who
friend.
needs to?
I was just gonna say you're in a rainforest, right? So you don't gotta fly. What's interesting too, I can segue a little later, but there's an animal I learned a little more facts about, a mammal called an okapi in the deep forests of the Congos of Africa. And talking to okapi staff recently, I've noticed some behavioral and some physical adaptations that they do that are very similar to a cassowary also. And these animals are thick rainforest birds. So again, northeastern Australia, New Guinea is where we're talking about old growth rainforest habitat. So I can go from the top of the head down to the feet. I mean, just starting at the head alone, think of the casque. So there's a lot of theories, hypotheses, what that casque is for, depending who you speak with. Some of them think it helps them push. When a cassowary needs to really run and charge, what they do is, instead of being upright, they'll lean forward, almost like an aerodynamic shape, and just charge through the rainforest there if they need to. Some people think it's for pushing and protecting the head when they're pushing through that vegetation.
A battering ram.
Right, like a battering ram. I'm a little less inclined with that theory myself, in fact, because more studies have shown when they were actually to investigate the internal mechanisms of the casque, it's actually hollow and honeycomb in structure. And we found out a couple behavior nuances, biological things that they can do to adapt in the rainforest habitat. So for one, there's a lot of blood flow in that. So it's sort of like a dog when they pant to try to cool their body. Blood flows through the surface of the tongue, goes down into the body, right? So think of that with a domesticated dog. Now think of that version for a cassowary. So in maybe a warmer day, the blood vessels will expand in that casque. The blood flows, gets cooled by that hollow structure in the casque system, and goes back into the body, or vice versa in the cold. Restrict the blood flow to the casque and keep that blood nice and warm in the main body of the core. So that's another aspect we learned. The most popular one, which I'm a big fan of, is actually just vocalizing. So all the birds found on planet Earth, cassowaries have the lowest vocal of any other bird on the planet. So low, in fact, that there's parts of their vocal we can't hear with our human ear. I've had a cassowary vocalize next to me, a male, and I tried to record it on my phone. I felt the vibrations of the vocal. I could hear some of it in my ear, but I could feel most of it in my rib cage was vibrating. I was literally like 3 feet away from him, Maka, and Maka's vocalizing, and my phone didn't pick up any of it, by the way.
Oh, that's wild.
Right, and there's other species like elephants who do that for vocals that have to transfer for miles and miles on end in the Serengeti, or an okapi in a deep forest. They also have a very low vocal that can transfer through a thick vegetation aspect. So that's one aspect, because they're solitary. I either need to defend my territory, let another cassowary know in a deep forest, like, hey, don't come over here, or it's breeding season, and hey, I need to bring a lady over, and that's another adaptation.
That's the sock on the door.
That's the sock on the door, yeah. Don't come over, or come over very carefully. I mean...
Text first,
you know. And obviously, I can go forever in just the physical adaptations, but I'll give my main highlights. I think my top 3 for living in a thick rainforest habitat, also for being 12 out of 10. Also, just the feathers of the cassowary. So most birds, if you know, maybe you've seen a bird lose a feather before, and you see one shaft, right, poking out from the feather, the little pokey part at the end of the feather. For rat heights, in particular emus and cassowaries, the shaft is actually split. So it's 2 feathers in one shaft. And it also creates this wonderful, like, raincoat structure for them in an area that's thick in jungle that actually rains a lot, and also provides a lot of protection when you're pushing through a lot of foliage, right? So it's a very unique kind of coat, thermal-regulated kind of feather coat that cassowaries have to help them in that forested environment.
I was thinking, because this reminded me of, have you seen Prehistoric Planet?
No, I need to see that.
It's the documentary series on Apple TV, I think.
Oh, okay.
But it's an Attenborough, like, BBC documentary series on dinosaurs, or at least like prehistoric animals, because I think they do some like Pleistocene.
I might have seen. I've seen a lot of those, by the way, so I can't remember if I've seen that specific one, but I'm pretty sure I have. Yeah.
Prehistoric Planet is my favorite one, and there's this one, I think it's Dinocaris, that they give
a cassowary look to it.
They give it those sort of like cassowary style feathers.
Yeah.
If you have Google handy, if you just Google Prehistoric Planet Dinocaris, They give it that sort of like, because it's like a marshy, swampy living dinosaur, and they give it that sort of matte of like, it almost looks like they've just risen out of the water and they look like they're just dripping with feathers.
Oh, really? Oh, I got to bring this up. Okay. And thank you for the show recommendation.
Literally, it's so good. And being a behavior person, you would love it because they do a lot of like, showing dinosaurs doing like behaviors that they definitely took from like modern birds, which is really, really
Which
cool.
makes perfect sense to me, honestly. Wow, that's incredible. Whoa.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, I love that stuff. No, that's great. In fact, there's another one called an oviraptor that when you see a sketch of it, looks exactly like a cassowary as well. Yeah, but honestly, when you see a cassowary, you're going to think dinosaur, like modern-day dinosaur, 100%, especially the feet. That was my third one, by the way. It's those giant feet, humongous dinosaur-looking feet, female, wider than the palm of my hand, and again, that inner nail. And I mentioned for defense, but it's also used for that forested floor. It's a very unique area in those jungles there, and they can use that sort of like a rake and scraping through the leaf material to try to find yummy bits to eat as well.
Can I ask about the waddle? What's happening here?
What's going on with the waddle? What's up with the waddle?
Why have that?
Can we waddle this up a little bit? It's a great way to show that I am an adult, right? I am ready to breed, to show those vibrant colors. There's other theories why, but just to my experience with, I've worked with ocellated turkeys, North American turkey, a lot of other bird species that have that waddle type structure, and generally it's a way of communicating to another individual that I am an adult. Look at my colors, I'm vibrant, I'm doing good, I can feed, I can eat, I can produce these great colors. It'd be great to meet up with me and we can make some babies.
It makes sense now that you say that because of the bright contrast between like the red of the waddle and the blue of the rest of the neck.
Exactly.
Like it makes sense that they would want something that would be like very obvious and visible.
100%, especially again in a thick rainforest habitat, right? You got to grab that attention where you can. And if you look up a baby cassowary, you'll see an animal that is completely different than the adults. If anyone knows what a tapir baby looks like,
so cute.
I know those.
Oh my god,
they're adorable. They're brown in color with little lines on them to help them blend into their habitat. They're the cutest little babies, I gotta say.
The picture that came up is a picture of a parent cassowary, which to me looks like lovingly and tenderly, like gazing at a baby cassowary chick. Right? I'm a sucker for it. I'm done. I'm out. I'm taken out.
I mean, and I got to point out the picture. It's going to be a dad. It's a male actually with those babies.
Daddy.
It's not the female. In fact, can I tell you the love life of a cassowary, by the way?
Can we do that in Ingenuity, which we're about to get into?
Oh, that's right. Oh, I'm getting my bird brain's running right now. No. Yes. Okay.
Well, that's great. Let's do Ingenuity now.
You lead the way.
Hey there, we're taking a quick break to hear from some of our friends on the Maximum Fun Network. When we get back, we are going to talk ingenuity and aesthetics for the southern cassowary, so stay with us.
Greetings, I am John Hodgman, co-host and co-creator of the Judge John Hodgman podcast, along with Jesse Thorne here on the Maximum Fun Network. And I am here with Max Fun Member of the Month, Keith, who has been a Maximum Fun member since when, Keith?
Oh, at least 3 or 4 years now. I don't recall exactly when I fell prey to the pledge drive, but it got a hold of me and I've yet to relent.
Oh, and we shall not ever let go. Now, you join us telephonically from a different country from ours, which is which?
I moved to Vera, Portugal back in August of this year.
I hear evening birds chirping behind you. And what are the names of those birds?
We do have quite a few spoonbills and quite a few flamingos as well.
So what would you say to the birds around you and the people listening who are considering supporting the show?
You know, it's just nice to have a little bit of investment in the things that I love. Knowing that I'm making sure that those podcasts are still being created makes me feel good.
We're so pleased to have you be our Maximum Fun Member of the Month. Thank you very much, Keith, in Portugal. This month's Maximum Fun Member of the Month.
Obrigado.
Become a Max Fun member now at MaximumFun.org/join.
I'm Emily Fleming.
I'm Jordan Morris.
And I'm Matt Lieb.
We are real comedy writers.
Real friends.
And real cheapskates.
On every episode of our podcast, Free with Ads, we ask, why pay for expensive streaming services when you can get free movies from apps with weird names?
Each week, we review the freest movies the internet has to offer. Classics like Pride and Prejudice.
Cult classics like Point Break.
And holy What Did I Just Watch classics like Teen Witch.
Tune in every week as we take a deep dive into the internet's bargain bin.
Every Tuesday on MaximumFun.org or your favorite pod place.
The next category that we rate animals on is ingenuity. It's behaviors, things that they do to either navigate their world, solve problems that they face, maybe navigate relationships with others of their species so that they don't kill each other. So, Marco, what do you give the southern cassowary out of 10 for ingenuity?
I mean, I always want to go 10 out of 10, but I think just to add levels, I'll do a 9 out of 10, you know. But I'll mention a couple things.
Harsh but fair.
Right, I'll be a little fair. Try a little complexity, too.
An A minus.
A minus. But, you know, my top two, friend, and one, if everyone probably has seen a jaguar or a leopard move through foliage. If you think of a jaguar, how sometimes it moves slowly, or even maybe a snow leopard in deep snow, they're very careful about their steps. You might even see them take a step forward, maybe a step back, and then forward again. Cassowaries do a very similar thing in a thick brush, where you'll see them take a step forward, kind of like touch a little bit, and then pull back for a second. And there's theories for it. No one gave me a solid answer, but working with them for the years that I have, my theory is because they are a thick rainforest bird, if I'm running, which they can, run at 30 miles per hour, that can be very dangerous. And especially just maneuvering in a forested jungle with root systems and branches and blah, blah, blah. You don't want to fall and break your leg or risk an injury. So they have adapted a more behavioral nuance of maneuvering themselves more tentatively through the rainforest. Another friend of mine had an interesting way. They're sort of like the perfect pacifist. And by that, I mean, like, they want to avoid conflict. Buddy, fellow wildlife care specialist in the bird department, had gone to Australia and saw a cassowary the first time. And they had a wonderful story that this one cassowary in the area, male, he'd had this very particular path he would take through the jungle. One day, they noticed in the afternoon that a big old tree had fallen and blocked his path. And the cassowary just very quietly and peacefully just like, that's cool, I'm just going to move away, find me another path around it. And just, you know, a way of like just avoiding these little hazards and nuances that maybe other animals are a little more high energy, you know, like maybe I think of a Labradoodle. I don't know why that animal popped in my head, but that thing's not pausing for a minute. It's going, you know. But a cassowary,
cassowary is regulated. Cassowary has been to therapy.
That's right.
Cassowary
there are
has
levels.
Emotional maturity.
Thank you. Emotional maturity. Can we say that again? Thank you very much. Because, you know, again, part of that aggressive aspect, I want to minimize that concept of cassowaries, but they really want to avoid any kind of conflict for one. Now, the other is the breeding season. So again, this is an animal that's solitary. They live in thick rainforest habitats, and their territories need to overlap, or else how are you going to make those cassowary babies, right? So nature has found a way. So the love life of a cassowary, I said females are bigger than the males, right? So they're more dominant, and they're also known for being a little more aggressive, actually a lot more aggressive, I'll be honest with you, than the males. Now, it's interesting. A lot of different things are going on at this moment. So for one, females being bigger, more aggressive, their territories are 3 to 6 times bigger than the males. So they have a lot of males that overlap in their territory.
She has options.
She's got many options, and she wants those options, friend. And she's going to take opportunity anywhere she can.
Her dating app radius is set nice and wide.
She's always swiping right. She is swiping right the whole time. And I'm telling you, we're talking maybe November to January, kind of like the winterish for us, you know, would be that breeding season. So what's going on is now the males, who are tentatively a little more shyer than the females. Nature's great. Nature during that time is going to pump those males with a little more, I call it courage juice, to get them a little more like receptive to like, I'm going to approach a female. This is going to be a little daunting. And females, nature again is great and gives them hormones to sort of like mellow them out a little bit too during this time.
Give them a chance.
Give them a chance, right? And again, being solid.
Let them cook.
And you know, being solitary, I got to behaviorally find this female. How am I going to do that? With that vocal that I told you about earlier, that deep resonant. It's like a it's like Barry White times 100. It is deep, and it is traveling. The female is going to hear it and start approaching that male. Now, this is when I talked about consent, because again, this female towers over the male, so he's being very careful. He approaches, he circles her a little bit, maybe a little like preening of the feather, like, hey, are we good? Everything is green light, right? Yeah. Okay, if we get the green light, they're going to copulate, they're going to reproduce, and it's going to be about a few days, maybe up to a week of this going on. Once this happens, and they hang for a little bit and it's successful, she's going to drop about 3 to 5 Ninja Turtle green looking eggs. These eggs are ridiculous. So behaviorally too, the green is going to help it blend in to that environment. They are gorgeous eggs, by the way.
They look like jewels.
They really do.
They look like the dragon eggs in Game of Thrones.
Totally, yeah, 100%. And again, and now they've gone together. She drops those eggs, and guess what? She's out. She's like, okay,
my job here is done.
I did my thing. Peace out. Thank you, Australia.
We are done.
Yeah. And then she moves on, finds another one. And again, behaviorally, this is a very successful technique for reproduction. One, you're solitary. It's very hard to find many others who can constantly reproduce. The female can continuously go and find other males. The male is the best single dad ever. He sits on those eggs for 54 days, roughly, and then he will raise those babies for up to a year. So it is just a wonderful behavioral nuanced way of keeping those populations up in this thick rainforest habitat.
Now, the daddies are so cute.
Oh, they're the best.
Like you mentioned, these are like very intimidating, large-looking
Yeah.
animals. They're big, they're bulky, they're very prehistoric looking. And then you see them with their little babies just like following behind them like a little parade.
Oh, and when they like pick up a little bit of food. And again, when we don't see it with mammals, it's difficult to wrap our heads around maybe a mama crocodile taking care of her babies and putting them in their mouth as an example. Or I've seen a California condor with a beak that can rip open the hide of a mammal easily, be so gentle, helping a little baby come out of a shell, or a little bit of preening. So the intimacy of what birds and mammals, and also at times insects can show, I think are lost on people sometimes.
It's a good way to because they're, like you mentioned, it can be really difficult to relate to like the behavior of an animal that's so distantly removed from us.
I get it.
But I feel like when you see these little glimpses of oh, me too. Oh, I do that.
Right?
Like, I feel that way.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. In your time working with cassowaries, like you mentioned, they're formidable.
Right.
You don't want to underestimate them.
Right, yeah.
How do you work with them in a way where you can have a positive experience, I guess, for you and the cassowary? Are there things you need to consider for that?
Yeah, no, of course. And I would also add to the conversation, that applies to all manners of species. I mean, some of the animals that made me jump more than others have been little African guinea fowl, as an example. And these guys are super small, but they're ankle biters sometimes, and it made me jump. So again,
I used to say, when I used to work at a pet store, and people would ask me every day, oh, how many? Because I would reach into the snakes, right?
Yeah,
I was one of the people on staff that was okay with reaching into the snake tanks and getting the snakes out. And every time I did it, people that were shopping there would be like, "Aren't you scared? Aren't they how often do you get bit doing that?" I was like, "I've never been bit by a snake here. I get bit by hamsters every single day."
Oh man, no.
I was like, these hamsters bite me every day.
A chinchilla was probably one of the worst bites I've ever gotten. And a squirrel.
Are so much meaner than snakes.
Oh, I bet 100%. But again,
so cassowaries.
Yeah, cassowaries. We're wildlife care specialists or zookeepers, whatever term you want to use, but it is our responsibility to understand the wildlife under our care. So whether I'm working with a jaguar, an elephant, an axolotl, a giant panda, or a cassowary, we have to understand the behavioral nuances of each species, the personality of each animal. And so I came into the bird department because of my behavior background. Again, my skill set is shaping behavior using tools of operating conditioning. So coming in, this is an animal that's called protected contact. So there's certain protocols and concepts that we use at zoos. Protected contact means there's a certain species of animal for safety concerns, for different logistics. We do not go in their habitat. So that also includes a lion, an elephant, a hippo as an example. There's certain species, just for our regulations or protocols we adhere to being the professionals that we are, right, we're going to follow. So because this animal is deemed a protected contact scenario, meaning, again, staff isn't going in with those cassowaries, we need to be able to navigate certain husbandry. And husbandry, I mean certain things we need to do to take care of them from day to day for their physical and mental well-being. So when I interact with them, I had a male under my care, and one time I had 2 males under my care. Each one was different, but I understood the subtle behavioral nuances that they do as a species, but I also had to identify how they were separately. We have 4 at the safari park, and each one is different than the other, personality-wise. I mean, just the 2 boys alone, the 2 brothers, Maka, by the way, and Ponto. And Ponto is more like, I called him if we were in high school, he'd be like the jock, the go-getter, front of the crowd, cheering. The alpha. Maka was like the poet,
the sensitive one.
Yeah, sit in the back, read a book, and the females females are very different as well. So that was my role, to do everything from maybe sometimes we have to do a recall, which that means I do a certain cue. In this case, it'd be an auditory cue. Each animal had a different call or sound, which meant you had to hopefully go from the front of the habitat to the back of the habitat. As an example, maybe a kid drops a toy in the habitat and I have to retrieve it, as an example. But the behaviors are even more complex, from going into a transport carrier to actually receiving voluntary inoculation. So back in the day, perhaps we have to physically restrain an animal, maybe with anesthesia, to do a certain medical procedure. But in training now, they can participate in their care, which is great. So my proudest moment was training Maka for his first vaccinations and doing wonderful, and just took part 100%. And he got all the lovely grapes after, and he was
what a good boy.
He was such a good boy. I almost teared up because I was so proud of it. Because again, the cassowaries are new for us, the southern cassowaries for the safari park, and we've done inoculations with other species. So it was the first time for vet staff as well. So I was really a proud zookeeper, wildlife care specialist when that happened.
I can't not imagine the Chris Pratt Velociraptor scene, right?
Oh, you better believe me. We all, maybe hate mail is not the right word for it, but when we, what I mean by that, so, you and I, I'm sure are aware, but maybe your listeners are not, there's that scene where he's hitting that, it's called the clicker, over and over and over again. That was not the proper use of that tool. that tool.
And that was not protected
contact. And not protected contact, But the little kid in me.
They said, get in there, dog. It's Velociraptor, sure.
And I get it. It's Hollywood, So, I mean, the zookeeper in me was like, critiquing the bunch of it, But the little kid in me was like, oh my gosh, I want to be that guy. But I felt like I was a modern day dinosaur keeper, is the way I was telling staff,
You're like in the movie theater turning to the person next to you like, there's no way Jurassic World would be AZA accredited.
No. 100%. Yeah. That's a good point.
Need double chain link fences.
Yeah. Proper procedural, protocols,
Let me see the species survival plan. Where
Seriously,
is it?
Yeah. I don't even see it. I didn't see one protocol anywhere.
During your time working with cassowaries, has one ever done something that particularly stood out to you, really surprised you? Something that you were like, wow, I didn't think you would do that.
Honestly, it was, so my personal challenge was because of the stigma of females being I wouldn't say hyper aggressive, being a lot more aggressive than the males. It was my personal challenge for me that I wanted to try to minimize the aggression as much as possible. I'm not saying I wanted to get rid of it, because again, this is part of I think of a gorilla. So overall, gorillas are actually a very peaceful animal, but most people know the King Kong aggression part, and that is aggression can be part of a nuance of communication with an animal, but it's not their entire repertoire for communication. So it's not like I did not want this animal to not be expressive as a female cassowary. But what was surprising for me is that Yara is her name. She's the youngest of the 4 cassowaries. And so it was the first time that we all worked together, again, with a training plan, right? So working with the vet staff, the bird teams, to work with her. And by work, I mean establish behavioral traits initially as a baby to learn maybe a recall, maybe how to target. And by that, I mean putting a beak or a look, a focus on a certain item. So different things we can train. So I was working with vet staff and teams to train Yara when she was a little baby chickie, a little brown baby chickie. And then it was her time to move from her previous area to the habitat where guests can view them, where I was at. And so I'd worked with Yara prior, and we were good established relationship. And by that, I just mean that she's aware of who I am, not like a domesticated dog, right? Still, we are fully aware this is a wild animal. But what struck me actually was when she went out to the habitat, and she's maybe 2.5 feet tall, the tiniest little thing. And she comes up to me, and again, there's a protected barrier, because again, it's protected contact, but she can visually see me. She actually came up to me. She jumped up about 5 feet, turned sideways, and then hit the physical barrier with her 2 feet, which were exactly aligned where my face was at.
Dang.
And I only bring this up not because I want to sensationalize the aggression aspect, but it's a good reminder that even a baby, it's a wild animal. This is still a wild animal that we work with. So as much as we're making jokes and I say how cute they are, it's something that always is a good reminder for us. Even a baby cub of a leopard or a lion can administer some injuries possibly, So that really struck me that yes, this, as cute as she was, she's still a female cassowary, and she's going to show me.
She's like, I love you, but it is on site.
Yeah,
So I will keep your
100%.
teeth in.
Yeah, and she was very good about it too. And cassowaries are known for jumping too, so that was super impressive. For
If
me.
I see you too close to my tree, you are getting your teeth kicked in. I fear.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I saw, I respected, and I backed away, you know?
That's so cool, though. I feel like that's such like a game recognizes game moment.
100%,
right?
yeah.
Like, okay, you got that dog in you.
I
All
got
right,
you, girl.
Cassowary.
I feel it.
I'll be over here on the other side of this fence. You ain't got to worry about me.
Totally.
Now, when cassowaries when they're young, they're so cute.
I know.
And when they're grown up, they have these striking colors.
Right.
The last category that we rate animals on is aesthetics. It's just how nice they are to look at. What do you give the southern cassowary out of 10 for aesthetics?
Oh, man. I want to give him 15 out of 10, friend. I mean, just because to me they inspire such curiosity and nuance. I have yet to meet someone who first sees a cassowary and goes, and walks away every single time.
There's something for everybody.
Yeah, the jaw drops and it just brings people in, and they always come to Australia. I walk about Australia Safari Park for the platypus, which again, it's a big flex. Only place outside of Australia to see a platypus is Safari Park for us here. So they come for the platypus or the kangaroos, but then man, they stay for the cassowary. So it encompasses all the wonder of wildlife to me and our imagination of what wildlife can be and expression, you know? So, man, they are just breathtaking animals.
I do feel like they have a lot of expression in their head movements, too.
100%,
I feel
yeah.
like when I watch them, they have like this curiosity about them.
Oh, and that's, I think, that really surprised. I've so many times, because our habitat is wonderful, there's a viewing window. By that I mean there's an area where the cassowaries can approach this two-sided window here, and guests can interact by looking at them. And they really like the attention, especially Maka, the one who I told you was the more sensitive of the four. And he actually loved interacting with guests. And by interaction, I mean I'd see kids showing them their plushies, and he would look at it. And even Yara, the female, would do it too. And they were really surprised at their curiosity, you know, especially Maka. Again, everyone has a different personality. During the pandemic, you know, we were closed for a little over 2 months, and it was, for some animals, they enjoyed it, honestly, having, you know, a nice quiet space. Others took advantage of the opportunity. For instance, the kangaroos, it's a habitat where guests can walk in. So there's platforms for humans to stay, and the kangaroos are off on the grass. During the pandemic, I noticed the roos decided to lay out on this bridge where all the humans were like, no, this is our bridge now.
They're like, you guys seem to like this. I guess there's
I'm
something to
digging
it.
right?
I guess we'll check it out.
We'll check it out. And I had the funniest picture too of that. But the sadder part for me was actually Maka. He would actually sit by the glass waiting for the guests to show up. So
No,
yeah,
not the lonely cassowary.
So I would do my string, meaning the area I was responsible for of all the animals, and I'd do everything I needed to do, and then I would take all my breaks and all my free time, and I'd just sit with Maka during the pandemic. So it's kind of my favorite moments was my time with Maka and Yara, just being together, you know.
Hold up an iPad with like sensory videos.
Oh, I
for it.
know, I know. Well, I would sit there, I would read books, I would eat my lunch, you know, and they just sit there and hang with me. And it got to a point where now when I see them, I'm not there every day now as a spokesperson, but they have this trait of when they see me, they'll come over and they'll just sit with me and they'll fall asleep a lot of the time, take naps next to me, which is what we did during the pandemic, you know.
The cassowaries are out there doing Zoom parties, making sourdough bread.
Well, it's funny. Zoomies are a thing. And Yara was funny she had the zoomies quite a bit, and she had this one particular palm tree that she picked as her kicking tree. And so through the year, I watched her annihilate this tree. And so I had to give a big thank you and a sorry to the horticulture department because they do an amazing job with all the great plants that they put in the habitats. But unfortunately,
they should plant some kick-proof trees. I guess.
Right? Yeah, but hey, she needed it to express that energy, which was fine. So better the tree than something else, right?
That's true. Better the tree than your face, which apparently she had some thoughts about.
Right? For a hot minute.
She thought about it, and then she was like, I got a tree for this.
100%.
Well, Marco, for anyone who has enjoyed learning about this today and wants to learn more about cassowaries or learn more about the park, about the safari park in San Diego Zoo, where can people go next?
Well, you know, we're San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance as a whole. So again, if you want to know about our company overall of our work we do globally around the world, you want to go to San Diego Zoo wildlifealliance.org. But we're talking cassowary today. So please visit us at the safari park, and that will be sdzsafaripark.org.
Because you can't get those rumbles anywhere else.
No, that's right. You got to go and check them out.
That has to be an in-person thing. You can't get that over like
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't get that on TikTok.
And if you're trying to get it, I'd recommend coming between November and January. Hang out in the mornings at Walkabout Australia. You can cross your fingers and you might hear a cassowary boom because it is a really cool sound.
I want to feel it.
Oh,
you know what
man.
I mean? Like, I want to just feel it.
I read about it, but then when I felt it, I was just blown away by how powerful it was. Yeah, it definitely hit differently. Yeah, very cool.
And Marco, where can people go to find you?
Well, I have social media handles, so please visit me on TikTok or Instagram, Zoology Marco. I would love it if you can stop by and say hi. And I try to put out a lot of content, not only for the wildlife here, but also the people. Really, what makes our organization so amazing, in my opinion, is just the people that are so passionate about the work that we do.
Marco, this has been a fantastic time. For anyone who wants to go check out social media or go to the website or see more of your work, I will have links to everything in the episode description, so anyone can just scroll down and click through. Thank you so much for joining us. I've had the time of my life. It's been so fun. I cannot wait to come see the cassowaries and hear the rumbling.
Yes, and if you do, give me a shout out. I'd love to see you in person, friend.
I would love that.
All right.
We will have a fantastic time.
All right. Cassowary party at the safari park.
Thanks, Marco. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you, friend. Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you felt the rumble of the cassowary all the way deep down into your heart. If you liked what you heard, I would love if you left behind some kind words for us in a good review on your podcast app of choice. If you want to hang out with us online, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, Blue Sky. Links to everything will be in the episode description. You can also send me an email at ellen@justthezooofus.com if you have a cool animal you'd like to hear us talk about on the show. We'd like to thank Maximum Fun for having us in their network alongside their other amazing shows like the ones that you heard promos for here today. You can go check those out and learn more about the network and how you can be a part of supporting our show and get access to our monthly bonus content over at MaximumFun.org. Finally, we would like to thank Louis Zong for our theme music. That's all for today. We'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
A worker-owned network.
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
Directly
by you.